Welcome to Satisfactory Update 4 experimental build. Most of you probably could already guess that by this huge, thick, very red line here with exclamation marks and everything. Now, I have cheated a little bit. That cheating being that I've logged in or loaded up my save game just to check on the state of affairs. And I was very grateful to find what I found. We'll get into that, by the way. First of all, the background where we're standing clearly offers a couple of spoilers on what the game has added. You can see this little flying thing behind here, and you also saw one flying past in the background there. They have added drones for transportation. Now, I hope those are not as buggy as the other vehicles they have in the game, but okay, I'll be nice, Coffee Stain. I'll be nice, I promise. So, the other thing, this really cool building in the background here is a particle collider. We'll also get back to that. The patch notes are, of course, as usual, extensive, so I don't expect me to be reading all of those. But can I... Yeah, I have to do that, and then I can change to this window here. So the highlights of the patch notes, before we go into the factory, are aerial resource transport, as I mentioned. You have a drone port, or you could rather build drone ports, and you can build drones. And these drones will transport resources for you, and they are most efficient over longer distances, according to Coffee Stain Studios. We'll see about that. They have added lights. They have added lights. They have ceiling lights, floodlight towers, wall floodlight, and street lights, and they also have a light control panel for these things. Finally, I am so happy about that. In terms of equipment, they have added the hover pack, which will just take power from your factory and let you hover around as long as you're inside of the powered up zone of the factory. But they've also added the zip line, which you can use to zip around from power pole to power pole. In terms of buildings, the most important buildings are, or rather the new buildings, I guess, would be the particle accelerator in the background, of course. Everyone is probably massively surprised that that thing has a massive power drain, but we'll see just how massive that gets, or is, when we get farther into the series, because I don't think we're going to build one tomorrow, to put it that way. They have added the blender, which is next level of fluid-related production, which allows us to combine up to 2 fluid and 2 solid resources. So that looks interesting. Then we have the new resource wells, and I was so grateful when I discovered that the new resource wells, they are a late game thing. So it's an additional source of oil. I was very, very worried that I would have to spend many hours setting up a temporary coal power plant or something, unlock the pressurizers and make the new extraction stuff, since my factory is powered by oil. Quite extensively at that. So, no worries there. The old oil nodes are still there. They can be extracted the old-fashioned way. They even have a new model for them. But you also get oil from these new resource well pressurizers and extractors, and that also includes getting gas. They have added nitrogen, which you can get from these resource wells. They have added accumulators. They call them power storage, but fine. And they've added power switches so that you can turn off parts of your factory. This is relevant now that the power plants no longer have this limit on self-regulation. As you are all aware of, the power plants in Satisfactory has always worked the way that they will only give us much power out as is requested from them, which is fairly unique, I believe. In other games in this genre, the power plants usually produce the maximum output. So while I wasn't thrilled about that initially, yeah, I kind of like it because it makes more sense. You put a piece of coal into a coal power plant, you can't very well control the burn rate of the coal to the extent that Satisfactory has, well, I'm sure there are ways, but you get the point. This is more logical. Then we have new parts. I'm not going to list up all the names of the new parts. There are 17 new parts and resources that have been added, and you can find them in the patch notes. I'll link the patch notes in the description or in an info card, I think. They've also added 17 new alternative recipes, or alternate recipes. They are added for the new parts, and several alternate recipes have been added for parts that are already in the game. And then, of course, there are new project parts for the final tier, which I assume that when we unlock that we get nothing, but there might be something. Then there are a lot of rebalancing things. Bauxite, aluminium, all of those production lines have been rebalanced, and that also includes the alternate recipes. So that is one of the things that I have to do. I have to redo my aluminium plant. Thankfully, not much. The major change there is that instead of requiring what is the name of that resource again? This is embarrassing that I can't remember that. The coke, the petroleum coke. Instead of using petroleum coke, you now have to use coal to do the aluminium scrap recipe, I think. They have also rebalanced the nuclear production lines. That's good for me because I've never built nuclear. Imagine all the hours I've spent in Satisfactory and I've never built nuclear. So that's fun. So I get to experience nuclear rebalanced when I do it the first time, because now we are definitely going to do nuclear because the particle accelerator looks so cool. They've changed a little bit about geothermal generators. They now produce kind of like a fluctuating amount of power instead of a constant one. Geysers, they are now impure, normal, and pure. So you can get an additional variety of power or fluctuation of power based on that. A lot of commonly used items have been upped the stack sizes on. I am very happy about that one. They've also rebalanced the progression of inventory slot increases. Not sure how relevant that is to me, unless we get more. If we get more, I will not object. And also the fuel burn rate in the fuel generators have been reduced from 15 to 12 per minute, which also doesn't apply to my factory since we are burning turbo fuel. And then the main thing with the tier rebalancing, some of the tier 7 stuff is now in tier 8, and the tier 7 progression has been changed to work with the new tier 8 content. But this has no effect on already unlocked content, so I'm not sure how much that applies to my factory. And then there's a whole plethora of optimizations, quality of life improvements, and stuff like that. Let me see here. Not that. They've implemented a new conveyor item renderer, which is experimental. Apparently this will look a bit wonky in the beginning, but I didn't notice anything wonky, so... let's see, they've optimized power lines. They've also added some optimizations of the train functionality, but I ran into a major issue there, which is kind of weird. I will show you. They have implemented proper snapping functionality for water extractors. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I am very pleased about that. You can now copy and paste building settings, such as selected recipes, overclocking, etc. That is a major quality of life update. Thank you so much, Coffee Stain. And there's also a quick switch radial menu in the build mode that can be accessed by pressing E to switch between similar buildings, like for instance different power poles, different pipes and stuff like that. The Hypertube entrance hologram now has a directional arrow, and there's a quick search function which you can open with N. And there's also a lot of UI updates. We'll just see them as they appear. In the factory, they have tweaked some sounds and updated some factory building leg textures and specific factory building legs for the space elevator. World map, they have polished the Dune Desert maze layout, that is the southwest corner of the Dune Desert, where I haven't been building anything. There are new ambient video effects and an automated proximity-based system to spawn them. There are area-specific music with a few new music tracks. And they have tweaked and added some caves in the Dune Desert. Interesting. And then, of course, they have polished a large list of environment assets. Polished chainsaw animations and sounds. I hope it is a little bit less annoying. I didn't like that. And then there's also bug fixes. The known issues currently when I record this video. This is 1 hour, 30 minutes after launch. Some conveyor belt items look odd due to the new conveyor subsystem. This will be fixed soon. Conveyor lift items do not show up correctly in some situations. Conveyor belt items can visually disappear in some situations. First initialization, yeah, of new conveyor items can affect performance for a few frames. Freight cars have a collision where the container should be, even if there is no container there. And the game may crash if it is full screen and loses focus while the world is loading. A workaround is to change from full screen to windowed full screen in the video options. Right, that aside, let's go into the factory and have a little bit of a look around. Or maybe not. The game immediately crashed. That is a good sign. Let's try that again. Be right back. There we go. And it didn't change. Oh, there it. Sorry. That might be due to oddities. Let's quickly turn off the fog. Here we go. And that. Okay, so this music track in the background, I believe, is one of the new tracks because I haven't heard that before. Let's pop on over to the hub area. These factories are happily plodding along doing what they did at the end of our last series, which was the tutorial series. I'm using the same factory for this series because why shouldn't I? Would be a pain to redo everything of this currently, and I would like to get update 4 content out as quickly as possible. That was just something that I was messing around with at the end of the last series. In the hub terminal, you can see that I have researched or opened everything up to tier 6. For some reason, I have not opened Pipeline Engineering Mark II. I am absolutely certain that I have opened that. So that seems to have been locked again, and then I will have to unlock it, but really this is not a problem. In tier 7, we have the bauxite refinement. I believe that used to be in tier 6 or even 5. No, it was. I don't remember. Logistics Mark 5. That's the same. The hazmat suit, I never bothered to unlock that as we didn't get into any kind of radioactive stuff. But this gives inventory slots. Here's one of the new parts. Aluminium casing. We have Aeronautical Engineering. This unlocks the drones with an inventory size of 9 slots. The drone port. The Assembly Director System, which is the project part number 6. It unlocks supercomputers. It unlocks batteries. Batteries is used as fuel. The drones probably require them as fuel. Of course, the Scanner update sulfur. Okay. I seem to think that we could already scan for sulfur, but okay. But then we can make sulfuric acid, combining sulfur and water. And this is, of course, used in refinement processes. Not entirely sure which ones. But you can package it and you can make batteries, of course. Now, tier 8. Nuclear power. I'm sure the sulfuric acid is required here. They have removed the fuel rods. They have been replaced, as you can see. So we have the scanner update for uranium. We have the encased uranium cell, which is mildly radioactive. The electromagnetic control rods. The uranium fuel rods, which is moderately radioactive. And of course the nuclear power plant. Then you have the magnetic field generator here, which is also a part for the space elevator. Now we have the advanced aluminium production, and this gives us the resource well pressurizer, the resource well extractor, 60 cubic meters of fluid per minute. And we can scan for water wells, crude oil wells, and nitrogen gas wells. We get empty fluid tanks, which we can use to package gases and volatile liquids, like nitrogen gas. Heat sinks, cooling systems, and fused modular frames. That's going to give me a small conundrum, because this is clearly a tactical Borg cube, so what on earth am I going to call the heavy modular frames now? I'm going to have to look up the Borg lore in Star Trek. Hoverpack. More inventory, and the hoverpack consumes 100 megawatts, but that's not really a big issue in this factory at least. Leading edge production. That gives us the turbo motor and the miner Mark III. Now, I don't know. I had that one unlocked because most of the miners have been replaced with Mark IIIs, so I'm not sure if I can build it or if I need to re-unlock this. But anyhow, you also get the thermal propulsion rocket here, which is the project part number 8. The third project part number 8. And finally, particle enrichment. We get nitric acid. That's probably one of the volatile liquids they are referring to. Packaged nitric acid, non-fissile uranium, plutonium pellets, encased plutonium cells, plutonium fuel rod. Notice highly radioactive. So this is the new fuel rod. You can no longer just use uranium. You have to put it into a particle accelerator to convert it into plutonium cells or pellets. I'm not sure. Yeah, the pellets. And then I believe the I might actually have that one unlocked. It is the new packager facility that I was referring to. I have no idea where they've put that. It's a bit weird that they would put it this far down. Can it be used? I must have missed it. There is no way that it is this far down. Maybe it's unlocked. No, that doesn't make sense either. Blender. Sorry, here it is. The blender. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, this is the blender. Because you have to add the pellets, and of course you have to add probably nitric acid and sulfuric acid. And I'm guessing that would give you... this is just speculation on my part. I'm guessing that would give you that stuff. Pressure conversion cube. That might be a part of this, which is project part number 9, the nuclear pasta. And that is... Okay, interesting. Power usage. It has a power usage. And of course we have copper powder, which is made for use for producing the nuclear pasta. I don't want this episode to be too long, so let's first of all just quickly pop on up to the space elevator. Everything here works. My crystal computer assembly line is still functioning as it should. I might have to change this though, because the crystal computer assembly line is not exactly the most efficient one, so I will probably change that to something else. These are the new space elevator legs, I think. Looking good. So here, there's a bug, so I can actually do this. But you can even send it, so I could just skip that if I wanted to, which is silly. But yeah, as you saw, we require a lot of parts for that thing. And the final thing is unavailable in early access because that is going to be in update 5, which may very well be the last update of the game. Now, I'm not going to go back to the MAM because I do not want to spoil that. I actually want to produce those parts because doing it that way is just silly. And obviously developer oversight, so no, I'm not going to do it like that. I'm also going to clean up that up there, so don't worry about that. The next thing that I wanted to do is visit the refinery, where we have our power plants and such. There has been some changes out there. Also, I would like feedback on the sound. I don't know if the sound is too loud or too subdued, but I definitely can't hear the hypertube, so that might definitely be too subdued. Let's quickly have a look at that. Effects volume 45 perhaps, because everything here is reset, so I don't know what would be the best optimal settings here. Let's go jump on this. Yeah, now we can hear the hypertube. That's better. Coal power plants seem to be functioning the way they used to, taking coal in and water in and producing power out, because they are all working. And since everything is now producing power at 100% all the time, they would be complaining, I believe, if they lacked something. I need to tweak the audio settings a bit more, but I will not do so now. Then we can go into here. Oh, they also changed the... whoa, this is very bizarre to watch. They changed the stack sizes of many popular building items. So, iron plates, iron rods, aluminium alclad plates, copper sheets, cement or concrete. Some of them have been changed into stacks of 200. The concrete has been changed into stacks of 500. So if I do this, boom, you see much more space. There was something that had changed out here. We are making turbo fuel here, so everything here is fine. All of my generators are working. You can see it's a slightly different looking here. My power grid is looking very good. Maximum consumption 18.555 megawatts, but we're producing 22.548 megawatts. Currently consuming 9.4. So a nuclear power plant might be a good idea for the particle accelerator thing, because I think that is going to require a lot of power. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is the new oil extractor model, because that one was pretty cool, because I had to go out and just check that everything was working as intended. So it's over there. Let's see if we can... No, we could not, but that's okay. This is the new oil extractor we see over here. I think it looks much better than the old one. Not that I minded the old one, but this one looks really cool, actually. Now, a word of warning. If you work with trains, something that I discovered that was less than ideal is... Let's just... I don't know if I have everything I need to build trains on me right now. And if I'm really lucky, it's going to work here. So all this work might have been for nothing. But I'm pretty sure it won't. I'm going to miss the mod until the mod author can fix that. Railway, I have enough. So, for some reason I cannot rotate it, which also is kind of weird. I don't know why why that doesn't work. But if I now do this, I then do this, and I then do this. Okay, so far so good. Let's have a foundation going here. And let me try to... Yeah, it works here. I have no idea why it does not work on my actual train line. On my actual train line, this would say terrain not even. I have no clue what the problem is. I really wish I understood it. But as things stand right now, I cannot modify my train station. That is my main train station in the base. Because it simply doesn't work. And I don't know why. It doesn't even make sense to me that it doesn't work, because it should. But it doesn't. So, yeah. Anyhow, I think we're going to wrap it up here. There are other things as well that would be fun to mention, but I want this episode to be released tonight, and YouTube can be very temperamental when it comes to its rendering times. Sometimes it will render the videos I upload almost instantly, other times it takes forever. So, oh, I didn't have to change to the jetpack. So, just to make sure that I can get this video out tonight, I'm going to wrap it up here, and we will have a look at the various changes when we start the actual... well, I guess this is going to be episode number 1, but when we start the actual building stuff of everything that is new. So, I hope that you're as excited as I am. Basically, this means goodbye real life for me for the next couple of weeks. But that's perfectly fine because everything's in lockdown anyways. So this is a very, very good timing for me when it comes to this update, because this means I have something fun to do that will distract me and give me pleasure, and hopefully also give you guys pleasure, because yeah, Satisfactory is just great. I really love Satisfactory. So, questions, comments, feedback, flaming jays, anything, leave it in the comment section. And of course, you have the Discord server, which is in the description. You can happily come and join us there. We have a dedicated channel for Satisfactory, and I'm more than happy to answer questions. Ideas for tutorials will also be very welcome, and I will be very open to discuss those ideas, because I know there's a lot of things in Satisfactory that can be a little bit complicated to understand, and tutorials is a great way for me to well, basically to narrow down something, a concept of something I've done, into a short episode which explains concept, production line, anything that might be complicated to understand. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you look forward to the series. I will see you in the next episode where we start the actual construction.